Yeah, good win, of course. When you have that margin of victory in your league, and you've done it twice now this year, that's pretty special. I kind of had a weird flow to that game, though. I thought started slow in the first quarter, started slow in the third quarter. So I didn't like that piece. I thought we were competing, but offensively we weren't clicking. I didn't think we were connecting on our passes. Didn't finish as well as I would have liked early, but then settled in, and we were our usual disruptive selves. I thought on defense that led to some easy offense. I think it was just the half court offense that I thought we were just a step slow in our decision making, and really were all night. And I thought the assists at only 16 kind of reflected that a little bit, and then the 17 turnovers, that was kind of the disappointing part. But got some people going. JJ got going again. Kid's playing pretty well right now. Jordan had an off night, but battled through it a little bit. Lauren has been pretty good here lately. And then I thought Kaya glue. Kaya was back, kind of did a little bit of everything, and was kind of trying to get her one more bucket so she could get that double-double, and then just didn't quite get it, so pulled her out. But, every kid scored. Everybody got to play. Got to, for the most part, keep the minutes down other than Jordan's, but was just trying to see if she could get something going there a little bit. But, when you win by 41 in the league against that team who bothered us down at their place and played Baylor really close a couple games ago, you got to feel good about it and protect your home court again. So I thought we did some good stuff, but just didn't quite have our normal feel to it for whatever reason.
You mentioned the slow starts at the start of the first and third quarter. Is that timeout at the start of the third quarter like a wake-up timeout to speed things up? Or what was
it was a little bit of that, and a little bit I didn't like what was going on and just didn't like the response, and that's all we really talked about was kind of punching first and come out, and we thought they would change something, and they went zone to start that quarter, and we just didn't respond, and we looked confused and didn't know what to do, and then we gave up the layup quickly on the other end, and so it was more of a, no, we're not going to do this. Like, no, don't start this with the big lead, and there's still a standard in which we expect them to meet, and if they're not meeting that standard, then I'm going to let them know. And that's kind of what that timeout was for, was to let them know they're not meeting the standard.
Kaya doing a little bit of everything for you tonight. You call her like a glue player. To have someone who can fill so many different roles, affect the game so many different ways, how beneficial is that to a team when they are going through a little bit of an in-game struggle?
Yeah, it is. It allows her, when she's not having maybe a good night offensively, to continue to play. And she was good enough tonight offensively, but there's some nights where she may only have 4 or 6 points, but she can continue to play because she does so many other things. And so I thought her activity in the press and in our zone and even in man at times, she just covers up other people's mistakes, and she has a great feel for the game, and she's just active and all over the place. And there was a couple possessions. I think she had a tip on a pass and then tipped another pass, and maybe there was a rebound that she tipped about 2 or 3 times and then probably didn't even get the rebound, but her activity led to the defensive rebound. So, Kaya was kind of Kaya in such a good way.
Coach, obviously JJ's got a pretty good string of games going here. From a coach's point, are you superstitious at all? Like, do you just let her just keep doing her thing, or do you that bad game might be coming soon or something? Just, when a player's on a roll like that, how do you approach that as a coach?
Yeah, not any different if she wasn't really. You just keep coaching them the way you're supposed to coach them and start talking about things that they're doing well, and if there's still areas that they're not, playing at the level that we want them to, you let them know that. And that was one of the things I asked JJ, when I got here, was, can I coach you? And do you want to be coached? And do you want, can I hold you accountable? And you always want to be able to coach your best player. And if you can do that, then everybody else sees it and realizes that if I can coach JJ Quinterly, then I should be able to coach the rest. Now, the good news is, coach, I just have to kind of teach her and guide her. She's a talented player, so it's not like I'm doing that much, but just trying to put her in positions to have success. And then, to her credit, she's taken full advantage.
You had a kind of similar win against Houston, margin-wise and whatnot, but one of the things you were harping on and something you wanted to get better at was the turnovers, and that was kind of the same storyline, I guess, if you will, tonight. A higher number than you usually average against a team you beat by, 41 points.
Yeah, we've been okay in the turnover department, but it can get away from us a little bit. And I've said this at times, we've become a willing passing team, and that's what I wanted to battle, because a year ago we were dead last in the league in assists. And so we needed to get that ball moving. We needed to get multiple people involved. And I think for the most part we've bought into that philosophy. Now, at times our decision-making, though, isn't as good as I want it to be. And we were just delayed today. I thought we were a second slow. And then by the time we make it, there's a hand in it, or they hit it out of bounds, or it was a turnover. And so just seeing it'll play ahead. And we were just thinking a little bit slower tonight.
Coach, how do you feel Kylie handles the physicality in the paint? I know throughout the game she gets a lot of help off the bench, but when she's starting, I mean, she's the clear 5 and the clear presence down there.
Yeah, no, she is. I mean, I thought she battled. I mean, she gave us the great start against Iowa State, against Crooks, and she just has to do it differently. Like Crooks is a back-to-basket, low block. Kylie is not, and so we're asking her to play a position that she really probably doesn't even want to play, but it just allows us to put 5 kids out there that can play and function together. But I thought she was really active, and especially in that third quarter, offensively, she chased down a couple rebounds, got a couple drew a couple fouls on some rebounds. Missed a layup or two that I know she would like to have back. But got a 3 again, and Kylie's gotten more efficient this year. Her threes are more efficient. She's made more than she did a year ago. Steals are up. Her activities is just better right now, and I think she feels more comfortable. I think she was probably disappointed she didn't get to finish that game the other night, but Donnell was kind of the matchup. But it'll be Kylie on a lot of other nights as well. But no, I'm proud of her. She's battled through this, and I think she's playing the best basketball of the year right now.
Mark, you said the other day it's too early to standings watch, but you're 7-2 midway through the league. At this point, does the team have belief, and has that belief kind of built on itself each game?
Yeah, we still haven't really talked about it much. We did talk about this being the halfway point, so we're off tomorrow, but when we get back together Thursday, we'll probably, just talk about it briefly, that we're halfway through, and what does this next part look like, and here's the stretch coming up, and it's still, the coaching cliche. We're going to take it one game at a time. Got a couple opponents now that we haven't faced, so that will be different for us again. Some new to the league, like BYU obviously coming next, who we won't know a ton about, and that's our longest trip of the year. But yeah, no, not a ton yet. Still don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Just kind of keep trucking, and we'll really start doing it, once we get to the end of February probably.
Was it different than being down in Orlando with Coach Carey on the other, bench, with it being here in Morgantown tonight, and, the video before the game and all of those things that go into that, or not really?
Well, once the ball was tipped, no, you don't even really process it. Other than I saw him standing up over there, coaching a little bit, especially early in that game. So once the ball gets tipped and the game started, no. I mean, obviously, before the game, yes, and we honored him, and as we should have, for his 20-plus years here and all the success that he had. So hopefully he got the tribute, the well-deserved tribute, that he wanted or that he would have asked for, and so I'm glad we did that. But other than that, for us, no. Now, you could ask him. He may have a completely different opinion on what it was like to be back, but, I hadn't even met him until we were down in Orlando. Was the first time I got to meet him.
Coach, I kind of going off what Joe was asking about. You can kind of take this season through stages where, first, it's a nice little start, and then, now you start getting questions about being in the top 25, and now, people start asking about, well, now it's a Big 12 race that you're in, and so the momentum is kind of along the way. Have you ever kind of just stopped and kind of reflected and seen, this is probably better than, I thought, back in March or
Not much, to be honest. Yeah, no, not a lot. I mean, every once in a while you may catch yourself and you'll look down and you see 18-2. You're like, ooh, wow, that's a pretty good start. Who I don't know if many people expected that. And I didn't have an expectation necessarily. I mean, you do, but we didn't talk about them a ton because there was just unknown for me. I hadn't coached in this league. I knew it was going to be a gauntlet. It will still be a gauntlet, so I'm fully aware that this could change, and it can change in a hurry. So I do want to enjoy it, but I think that's kind of been, I guess, fun for me in a way, is not knowing, and playing new teams and new coaches and just really not having to have those conversations because, I don't know the conversation necessarily to have. It's just, I'm trying to make my team better, and I enjoy going to work every day. I got my same routine that I've had everywhere I've ever been, and I've talked about that, and wake up and drop my kids off, and I go to work, and they go do their activities, and I go home at night and coach my team as best I can, but I really enjoy this team still. They've been fun to be around. The winning is the byproduct, without a doubt, but we've just tried to put them in positions, and I like my staff, and it's gone really well. I mean, really, really well, and I'm not naive to that, but I think coaches are horrible. We always will regret it probably in the long run when you look back at it, that you probably don't enjoy the wins, as probably as much as you should, and then we take the losses way too hard. But I'm just thankful right now. Obviously, the wins are far outweighing the losses at the moment.
It's kind of the funny thing when you say, the not knowing is kind of the coaches generally want to know. I mean, that's kind of goes against the grain of the coaching cliches, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think it's just I don't have any preconceived idea of what it's going to be, Now, I still prepare, and I know going into the game, what's going to happen and what our game plan is. So that piece hasn't changed. And I've played at BYU actually before as an assistant at Montana State, so I've been there and played there. But some of these, I had never been to Orlando before, and I hadn't been to Kansas. I've coached against Brandon Schneider before, but I hadn't been to Lawrence, and so those are the things. I don't know. I've heard a lot about it. I'm excited to go experience it, but I don't have anything. Hadn't been there. I hadn't lost. I don't have any of those experiences to draw off of. You just go in with an open mind and go play your butt off, and that's really what I mean. Just next time I go there, I'll have an experience to draw off of, and I'll know a little bit more about it that I just don't have. But that's what I mean. That's why it's just been kind of nice just to keep on going and trucking at this thing without anything in advance.
Provo, that's a trip.
It's going to be a trip, yeah. A couple time zone changes, too, which we haven't really had to go through. We've been all Eastern and Central time zone, so it'll be different.
Any more questions? Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Coach.